President Samia concurs foreign affairs reforms. Presidential state visit to India unlocks diverse potentials. Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TBC Online. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has consented to Foreign Affairs Review Committee's recommendations to restructure various aspects of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, including the appointment of ambassadors to ensure efficiency. President Samia was at the State House in Dar es Salaam receiving a report of the Presidential Committee to assess the efficiency and performance of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation. Here are more details.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan has praised the work done by the Foreign Affairs Review Committee, which has taken 6 months to complete, saying it will present its recommendations to the President.
Ikiwemo kuongezeka kwa nchi wanachama,
including the increase in the number of member countries from the previous 3 countries until now, and the use of various protocols within the community. This structural change of the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs and within the East African community has led to a doubling of responsibilities of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. This situation has made the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to not participate properly in the integration meetings where the countries of the East African communities defend their interest to organize and share opportunity.
After receiving the report, President Samia Suluhu Hassan takes the opportunity to categorically analyze it.
Kwa mujibu wa maelezo tuliopewa na kamati.
According to the information given to us by the committee, this report has touched on 11 areas, and I will touch on some of those things. Firstly, the foreign affairs policy itself, which, as we have seen, is in the process of being restructured, but we have also been told that the policy has been implemented very effectively in setting the issues of peace, integration with foreign countries, and other issues. The unity of African continent and the security of our country have been implemented well, but even so, the report has also told us that there is still the importance of reorganizing ourselves, discipline and responsibilities, and our participation in these areas without forgetting our role, historical, in the liberation of the African continent. With that, the world is currently growing through regional economic and political changes that will force countries like ours to organize themselves well, and all will be determined in the policy.
Furthermore, she pinpoints reforms needed in the appointment of the ambassadors. The Foreign Affairs Review Committee to evaluate the effectiveness and performance of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation was officially formed in March 2023, and today it has officially handed over the report to President Samia Suluhu Hassan.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, January Makamba, says President Samia Suluhu Hassan's visit to India has resulted into widening cooperation between the two nations, including the establishment of India Institute of Technology in Zanzibar. Other areas include industries, business, pharmaceuticals, defense, security, and healthcare. Here's a report by Bakari Msuya, read to you by Kanki Mwagomole.
The state visit of the President Samia Suluhu Hassan to India. The meeting was also attended by some of the ministers who accompanied President Dr. Samia during the visit. And here, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, January Makamba, elaborates the success of the visit.
Moja ya mambo ambayo Mheshimiwa Rais alielekeza wakati tunaandaa ziara hii ni kuwepo kwa kongamano la uwekezaji na biashara.
One of the things the President directed while preparing this visit was to create a conference for investment and business between our country and India, and between business people from India and from Tanzania, in order to create a conducive environment for investors and eliminate any challenges facing them. So that was the major aim for that conference, and it was successfully done. The conference has produced contracts between institutions and organizations that are managing business in Tanzania and the ones managing business in India. There's a contract relationship between Invest India, and TIC.
Thereafter, other ministers expound on some of the agreements reached and signed between Tanzania and India, aiming to improve various services and the lives of Tanzanians.
Taongea, lakini la mwisho ambalo kwangu tunauona ni ushindi mkubwa kama sekta ya afya.
One of the things that I see is a win for the Ministry of Health is to get the Rainbow Children Hospital, which deals with children only, and all surgeries will be for children alone. And they have agreed to build a hospital here. The request of the president was to ask to get a quota of 500,000 tons only, but we have received a minimum of 200,000 tons. Let me take this opportunity to thank the people of Forek. They have done a great job of ensuring that we reach this level, because peace for India is a big deal.
President Samia's visit to India, apart from improving diplomatic relations, it has succeeded also to boost investments in health, agriculture, business, education, transport and communication, sports, culture, IT, blue economy, defense and security.
The executive director of Muhimbili National Hospital, Professor Mohamed Janabi, says the National Hospital Mloganzila branch in Dar es Salaam has become the first in East and Central Africa to successfully use new kidney transplant technology of less invasive option involving tiny incisions in the abdominal wall. He made the disclosure when meeting journalists while dismissing 4 patients who underwent kidney transplant using the new technology following improvement of their health.
So we are gathered here today with our colleagues from South Korea. From the 2nd of October this year, 2023, we did 4 cases of kidney transplant using a minimally invasive procedure. So today we gathered here to discharge our patients. The donors were discharged 7 days ago. And we are very grateful to Professor Park, who came to us for training or passing skills and knowledge to our team. The advantage of this procedure or this style of procedure is that the patient are staying in a minimal time. Like you can see, all the patients stayed less than 10 days, and we are discharging them very healthy today, going back.
On the other hand, the ambassador of South Korea to the country, Dr. Kim Sun-pyo, says Tanzania has made an important history in the health sector, while the nephrologist from South Korea, Professor Park Kwan-tae, says this is the beginning, and he hopes that
a historical day and very important day for Tanzania, because in this hospital we successfully operated kidney plantation.
Let's have a look at other stories now. The Minister of State, Policy, Parliament, Labour, Employment, Youth and the Disabled, Professor Joyce Ndalichako, says preparations for the climax of the Uhuru Torch race, which is to be held at the Tanzanite Stadium, Babati District in Manyara region, is 90% complete. Here's Teddy Paranyanga with more.
Professor Ndalichako was briefing journalists on the progress of the climax together with the Minister of Information, Youth, Culture and Sports, Zanzibar, Tabia Maulid Mwita, adding that the relationships involve the construction of the stadium. As you can see me, I'm at the Tanzanite field in Manyara, which is a new field built through internal funds under the leadership of Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. And here we'll commemorate the climax of the Uhuru Torch Nationwide 2023. The preparations are going on well. The preparations have reached 90%. Everything looks complete in terms of the area itself, the guest area, the celebrities area, and also the area for the guest of honor, who we expect will be the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. Regarding the National Youth Week, Professor Ndalichako says the government will continue to support innovative young people so that they can contribute to the national economy. We have the Week of the Youth, which began on the 8th, and that day the President will be finalizing that week, which will happen at the stadium near the old Manyara bus stand. When you go to one of those exhibitions, you'll find youth who have started a business of making bags and has become a source of employment for others. The climax of the Uhuru Torch race is expected to be on the 14th, the day that also the nation commemorates Nyerere Day and the culmination of the National Youth Week.
Chairman of the Tanzania Trade Development Authority, TanTrade, Professor Ulingeta Mbamba, says the government of China plans to further heighten business of Tanzanian products to the Chinese market. Professor Mbamba says trade between China and Tanzania has been promoting Tanzanian products, and a statement which is supported by the Chinese ambassador to Tanzania, Chen Mingyang.
Fursa kwa Tanzania.
It is an opportunity for Tanzanians to promote their businesses in China. We have a lot of products based on agricultural, industrial, as well as minerals and tourism that we can sell in the Chinese market. So it is a crucial opportunity to all Tanzanians to get involved in the China market.
To expand its imports of Tanzania agricultural products. Let's take soybean as example. From January to August of this year, Tanzania's exported soybean to China is more than 20,000 tons.
In other news, Director General of the National Commission for Science and Technology, Dr. Amos Nungu, is expected to secure 9 billion shillings through NORAD, a project that is funded by the Norwegian government to support researchers specialized in the challenge of climate change. He made the announcement during an interview with Tbcnews, insisting that the strategies target to reduce the effects of climate change.
Has entered an agreement with the NORAD, the Norwegian Research Agency, to support research project on climate change. And it is a 5-year project worth 40 million Swedish krona, equivalent to 9 billion Tanzanian shillings. And why COSTECH? Because COSTECH will host we call it NFAS, the National Fund for Advancement of Science and Technology. Through that fund, then government as well as other partners, they put in money to support the research and innovation ecosystem. And the COSTECH is a custodian. COSTECH is a coordinator for research and innovation. We use the fund now to advance the research and innovation, as the name of the fund it is.
On the other hand, Dr. Nungu urges for stakeholders, organizations and institutions to present their research while emphasizing creativity and standards in the research drafting for the wider interests of the nation.
Participate and even the researchers, I'm calling again that they should start now to start forming that multidisciplinary research teams. It could be within one institution, but different departments, but also we encourage, between institutions. As I said, our experience when it comes to climate, solution is not is not linear. It's not linear. So should we have many experts coming together to give a real solution to a real problem.
In other news, the government chief accountant, Leonard Mkude, has directed accountants in the country to come up with accounting systems that meet standards of various projects, especially in the areas of oil and gas, so as to support the country in sustainable and productive economic growth. The chief accountant was speaking at the 5th Conference on Accounting and Finance in Emerging Economies, whereby this year it carries the theme Sustainable and Inclusive Development. It's a report by Rehema Sebabili, read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
The chief accountant says Tanzania is one of the world's fastest growing emerging economies, and accounting and finance professionals can play a crucial role to contribute to infrastructural development projects such as SGR project, port expansion projects, a major hydroelectric dam project, and changing educational and investment policies in the country.
The government has confidence in the potential of our universities. This is because of the knowledge and the experience we generate can contribute to the successful implementation of the government policies and programs. We therefore look forward to your contributions, which will strengthen our efforts to allocate resources equitably, reduce the risk faced by various public institutions, and determine how different institutions or communities can cooperate productively in each other.
On the other hand, the Dean of Students of the Business School from the University of Dar es Salaam, Dr. Latifa Mbelwa, says that the country still does not have enough accounting and finance professionals in the oil and gas sector. He says the University of Dar es Salaam has started to take steps to have better systems that will bring positive changes to the country's economic growth.
We have these new areas, new sectors like oil and gas, which are missing. There are some of the aspects which are still missing. For example, in oil and gas, we have few experts. As University of Dar es Salaam, we are doing research, but also we are providing teaching. We decided to have a master's program for accounting and finance to ensure that we produce experts on the area to support the industry.
Particularly in accounting, from accounting perspective, we consider about reporting also, because this is a new area in most of the emerging countries. Then we have some challenges in reporting. But as a profession, accounting as a profession has some accounting standards which govern how you can disclose the oil and gas practices.
Of Community Development, Gender, Women and Special Groups, Dr. Dorothy Gwajima says women who are living in rural areas play a crucial role to the country's sustainable development, and the government will continue to create conducive economic environment for them. She was addressing journalists about the International Rural Women's Day, which is expected to be held on the 15th of October 2023 in Arusha, focusing on empowering rural women with food, nutrition and family sustainability.
15th October 2023 is a Rural Women Day planned to happen at Arusha, Arumeru districts, Levolosi village. The aim is to take on board rural and to hear the various development proposals from the rural women.
On the other hand, Dr. Gwajima calls on public and private stakeholders to mark this day by taking measures to add value to rural women.
All regional commissioners, district commissioners, and community development officers in different districts, non-government organizations, civil society organizations to join hands towards the implementation of this day and to make 15th October 2023 a colorful day.
Now, before we wind up our local news, let us take a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. Now let's have a look at international news as compiled by Ugania Jumbe and read to you by Kanki Mwagomole.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the U.S. top diplomat, met Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu shortly after landing in Tel Aviv. Netanyahu praised Blinken's visit as a tangible example of America's support of Israel. And the Chancellor of Germany, Olaf Scholz, has criticized the leader of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, for not openly condemning the killings committed by Hamas against Israelis. So far, the conflict has caused the death of 1,300 Israelis and 2,800 others have been injured. In Gaza, health officials have said that 1,417 Palestinians have been killed and more than 6,000 have been injured as a result of the fighting. According to the United Nations, almost 300,000 1,038 Palestinians have fled their homes, most of them finding shelter in various schools. Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived in Kyrgyzstan on his first foreign trip since the International Criminal Court (ICC) issued a warrant for his arrest for alleged war crimes. President Putin's two-day trip to Bishkek will culminate in his attendance at a summit of the Commonwealth of Independent States. Putin, who has rarely left Russia since sending troops into Ukraine in early 2022, is also expected to travel to China next week for the Third Belt and Road Forum in Beijing. During a meeting with Kyrgyzstan President Sadir Japarov, Putin reiterated Russia's importance as a trade partner and Kyrgyzstan's biggest investor and said the two sides would further develop cooperation. Last week, the Kyrgyzstan Central Bank urged local banks to tighten controls to improve compliance with Western sanctions against Russia.
That was international news. Sports news up next. In sports news, the chairman of the board of directors of Simba Sports Club, Salim Abdallah, asks the fans of the club to show up in large numbers at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium in the Africa Football League game between the club against Al Ahly, which will be played on October 20th this year. Salim says it is very important for fans to come out in large numbers in the game to make the history in the new African competition. Launched special jerseys to be used in the African Football League, where they will open the tournament by playing at Al Ahly of Egypt on October 20th at the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium. In other sports news, the head coach of the cricket national team, Jimmy Kamande, says he has great hopes of doing well in the World Cup Qualifier Championship to find a place to qualify for the World Cup due to the great enthusiasm and perseverance shown by the players of the team. Speaking to TBC News, Kamande says the experience they gained in the previous competitions gives them a great incentive to do well in those competitions.
Very good progress since for the last a year or two, coming from top, being ranked 36 to the top 30, whereby now we're eligible to play 50 over cricket. So it's a big step that we have made. What we don't want to jump the gun. So we want to go step by step and look to play to the World Cup when the chance comes in.
The cricket national team continues with training, preparing for the competition to find a place to qualify for the finals of the World Cup, which is expected to be held in Namibia starting from November 18th this year. And that's it for sports news. But before we wind up, let us take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Good evening. Once again, this is 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. And wind flow patterns. Average wind speed expected over the most part of our country. While the highest maximum temperature future particle condition, thunder shower over Furia over Kigoma together with Lake Victoria Basin except over Shinyanga and Simiyu. While tomorrow we expect future particle condition, thunder shower over Furia and sun period over the Lake Victoria Basin including Kigoma and Katavi. While Arusha together with Kilimanjaro region expect to future particle condition, light rain shower over Fury and sun period, and the rest part of our country expect to future particle condition and long sun period. Let's have a look for the 4 days weather forecast for some part of our country starting from the day after tomorrow. Dear viewer, we thank you
for our news bulletin for tonight. But do not miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.